6.
The words are something that I didn't expect to affect me in my everyday life. So when I go out, I feel as if I'm wearing slut across my forehead. The names that people have called me, it's as if you could take out those names and print them and put a ribbon around my whole body of all the names and things that people say to me on the internet. That's how I feel when I walk outside the door. So I have really gotten to the point where there are days to weeks at a time where I don't leave my house because I don't feel like facing the world of what has been created out there for me. I get so disappointed when I go out and I meet a new friend and then it turns out they don't want to be my friend anymore. Or I go out and, you know, I don't know, I just hear things and or witness things. It's really easier for me just to stay inside my house and not put myself out there for hurt. People treat me as if I am a pedophile. They don't treat me like an ex-sex worker. They treat me like I would somehow be damaging to children. I learned that there are some things that no matter how open-minded you are, other people will never be, and that you shouldn't do. And I send a very strong message to young girls: don't do porn, because as much I understand it, you want to embrace your sexuality, you want to say screw the man, screw whatever, like I can do what I want with my body, but you're just gonna have a life of crap in front of you and dealing with people and companies, and you know, companies are allowed to turn you down for work because of anything they want, and you know, they have morality clauses. You can never work with children after you do porn. You can never work in a medical field after you do porn. And these are things that teenage girls don't think about. You think that you're a teenager, it's fine, you're making money, and that's the truth. It is, and there's nothing wrong with porn, but how people treat you for the rest of your life, it's not worth it.
5.
Usually, the grossest stuff has to do with people just not understanding their bodies yet.
That just comes with the territory when you're having sex. If you're gonna fuck someone in the butt, you shouldn't expect to not find poop. Like, that's where it's poop's house. You know, if you came into my house and you were like, James, what are you doing here? I'd be like, you're in my house. What are you doing here?
And then there's always the lost makeup sponge. People who aren't in porn, when a girl is on her period, you can put a makeup sponge up into the vagina and it'll stop blood from coming out, but it's not seen like a tampon or something, you know. So then you can carry on with the scene without worrying about blood. And sometimes girls forget that they put a makeup sponge up in their vaginas, and then their vagina smells something like a corpse, like a rotting corpse, and they don't understand why, and then they have to go to a doctor, and a doctor will take, you know, like, and some skewers and like pull this like little corpse out of their vagina.
4.
She says an agent discovered her and convinced her to try pornography.
The first shoot was horrible. I was scared. I remember talking to a guy and he's like, you don't look like you really want to do this. And I was like, I don't know, I was so nervous. After the shoot, I sat in a shower and I was bawling my eyes out crying for like 2 hours, just sitting there. Like, I just felt so gross and just dirty.
But you went back, why?
Money. I went back for money.
I never thought I was going to get Nadia Hilton in front of my camera.
Soon, she was a star.
People recognized you all over the place. It was just weird, you know, because you just think about it. You know, they're recognizing me because of something that is not talent.
But the money was rolling in.
I would spend $3,000 or $4,000 a week at the mall, buying dumb stuff, you know, clothes, shoes.
Not even 30 years old, she had a house in Malibu and a Ferrari. even her own nightclub back home.
I quickly got sucked into it, and you're making more and more money, and you're spending more money.
But Crystal says despite it all, she wasn't happy.
I started taking painkillers and hydrocodone and drinking alcohol to get through the scene. I was like numbing myself.
And with a degree and with David by her side, Crystal slowly rebuilt her life.
It took me a little while to find a job because your past keeps coming up, and people know, like, oh, she's a porn star, so they weren't going to hire me. I got turned away by so many different jobs because of that.
3.
Never have I ever lied about my profession. Yeah. Sometimes you don't want to explain it.
Unfortunately, our industry is incredibly stigmatized. Sometimes I like those moments because you can change somebody's mind,
right?
But sometimes you just want to get your groceries and go home.
So proud. What?
I have a thing that I do on the side, and I make furniture. So I work in wood.
Technically, it's not a lie. Deception.
I'm an event planner.
Yeah, I'm a dentist.
Never have I ever gotten bored of sex.
There's always ways to spice it up, but I get, yeah.
Move on.
Get another one.
I've never gotten bored of sex in general, just the person or the actual moment, and then I just...
First time I lost my virginity, actually, I started daydreaming.
Because I'll pay attention, and then 30 seconds I'm like looking at the spider in the corner.
Never have I ever had a family member admit to watching one of my scenes.
2 of my brothers, my nephews, have all told me that they watched my porn.
It was a family member who really thinks I'm going to burn in hell. They're very, very religious.
My mama told me, I made that. That's why you do it good like that. I was done. When I go home for, you know, for the holidays, I'm like, you know, hey, I seen your little movie. I made that. That's why you good. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, Mom, right now, really? Can I eat some turkey first?
2.
How's dating been for you?
Oh, dating's a nightmare. Dating is so bad. Oh, it's so bad. It's hard, you know, like we call people civilians if you're not in the business. So civilians don't like that I have sex with a lot of dick. They don't like that. It makes guys very uncomfortable, and it makes them very insecure. I mean, I have sex with huge penises, like big, like this is what I do every day. So a guy that's like 6 inches, which is totally fine and which feels amazing, he's like, but I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not Manuel.
Yeah.
And it's just irritating, and I understand it. I'm compassionate of it. It's very hard to date someone that has sex every single day with other people. And there's the jealousy factor, there's this do I size up factor, there's the idea that all of your friends have seen me naked and seen me with things inside me. You know, that's not gonna go away. There's always gonna be my holes on the internet. And for something in a serious relationship, that's very, very hard for someone to cope with.
Yeah.
So it's very rare that it works, and when it works, it's awesome. There's also the fact of you have to get tested all the time, because if you cheat on me, as much as I trust you, you can cost me my job. If you go do something and then I pass that on to set, that makes me a horrible human being. So like, so now I'm asking my boyfriend or girlfriend to get tested regularly because I'm trying to be responsible, but they're taking it as I don't trust you, you know? So there's that issue. And then, so you're like, okay, well then I'm not gonna date a civilian because that's a fucking headache. I'm gonna date a performer. Oh, that's a good idea. Let's date a performer, because they get me, right? Because they're in the same industry and they get, no. Dated 2 guys in this industry. I love them both very, very much to this day. Nothing bad to say about them. It does not fucking work. Rarely it does, and it's fantastic. Dana Vespoli said something awesome the other day on set that stuck with me, that said, like, it works if you have the same goals. Like you have Mark Wood and Francesca Lay, which are they're a very, very successful couple. They have similar goals. You know, Manuel and Caden are, you know, happily married. Similar goals. I have not been so lucky. It's hard to date a performer because we're jealous. We are all fucking each other. Like, imagine going to a school and having sex with everyone in that school and then trying to date people that are in that school, but they just fucked your friend yesterday. You know? Yeah. We all are going to dinner, but, you know, my boyfriend fucked you in the ass last night. It doesn't matter how respectable you are and how much you take your job seriously, like you will still get jealous. It's very, very hard to not get jealous. So then you can go, well, I don't want you to work with that person. Well, I don't want you to work with that person because that's your ex-boyfriend. Well, I don't want you to work with that person because, you know, you fucked her one night. And so it becomes this very toxic relationship. Like, it's very like, well, now you're keeping me from being successful with my job, you know? And then you have other things like, it's hard to be a performer because there's no stable work. I might work 5 days a week, I might work 1 day a week. If I'm dating someone else in the business, they might work 1 day a week, they might work 5 days a week. So having the same day off is very, very rare. And on a day off, you have to go get tested. So it's like, it's tough. It's a very hard thing to do. I'm not saying it never works, it's just very rare that it does. So dating is, doesn't really happen.
1.
I knew that fame happened when I would go out in public and get recognized. That it wasn't just at porn conventions. And when it happened, I freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy said, hi Angela, at the gas station. And I thought, oh, this is it, I've arrived. I remember coming home to this beautiful marble floor, gorgeous counters, and I went up on the counter and I just laid there and I cried. Because earlier that day, this old man was on top of me and he was sweating all over me and his sweat would drip into my eyes. And I just look and I just stare at the money, because the only difference between rape in that moment was the money. And that's what my life became about. I no longer had friends. I didn't have my family. Money is what I'd have in one hand and a bottle of alcohol in the other when I went to bed. Pornography took everything. There was harsh sex, but it took my mind off the pain. Like, if my sex was painful and the harder and crazier it was kind of like the more you beat me up, the more you slap my face, the more violent you are to me, like, maybe I deserve this. And that was my new life. And I remember hating when clients would say, I love you, Angela. I'm like, please, anything but that. You can do anything to my body, but do not say that you love me. Love was a word that messed me up big time. I would pop as many pills as I could get my hands on and then just drink and drink and drink, trying to overdose. When I would wake up from my suicide attempts, I would get drunk, and like, it was that realization that I hated who I became. I hated money, and it was killing me. And at the very end, I called my parents when I said, I really messed up. That was the night my parents answered the phone. So through recovery, my parents have been there. When I traded in porn, I got my family back. Now we talk every single day. There is nothing that is worth the life I chose. Now that I'm out of the industry, I want to be a wife, and I want to be a mother. And one thing that I really want is I want to be a friend. I want the truth to be known about porn.